Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Turnbuckle Studios Awards, which it's actually the 2024 Turnbuckle Studio Awards, because that's what we're going through, is the year that was 2024. But we're doing it in 2025. I am Carl Carafel, joined alongside Chris Best and OMD for this show. And if you guys noticed, there are a few changes that have happened. One is our overlay has changed just slightly, but we have also got a brand new logo for the show. This is the first show that we are doing in 2025 for Turnbuckle Talk. And I am very, very excited for this. Guys, just give me quickly, Mr. Best, I'll start with you, your 2024 for professional wrestling.
Just, wow. To use an example from one of my favorite sitcom shows, How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson has a CD collection in there, and he believes his CD collection should be all Rise. That's what 2024 was for me. It was just all Rise. Everything about 2024, especially in the WWE, was just on fire.
OMD.
Loved it. This was perhaps the best year in the last decade that we have seen for professional wrestling. And I couldn't be happier because it's only going up from here.
I agree. From what we have seen from last night, which we may briefly discuss as well, from what we saw last night, I think that we are getting a beautiful, brand new WWE Monday Night Raw. For me, 2024 within the world of professional wrestling was a rebrand, I guess we could say. Simply meaning that the year of 2024 was almost a rejuvenation of professional wrestling, where it became a little bit more pop culture once again, where we got to see a little bit more happen, where unfortunately we did get some shocking revelations from the company itself, the WWE, from the buyout, from the takeover, from Vince McMahon, from everything that happened with all of that, which you all know enough about it. And if you don't, you can Google it and you can find all that information. It was a rejuvenation type of year. Bobby, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. I hope that you are going to enjoy what we have in store for the Turnbuckle Studios Awards. Now, if you guys don't mind, I think I would like to briefly talk about and let's touch on last night. We did our Raw Patrol, as we have been doing throughout all of 2024. Oh, go ahead,
Before
Chris.
you go to me, I need to step away just for a couple minutes.
Okay, so before we go to Mr. Best, he's stepping away quickly. Last night, we saw what has turned out to be pretty awesome, but still with some controversy from a lot of the internet wrestling community who were not happy with there only being like 4 matches throughout 3 hours. For, well, the live crowd at least gave their huge boos to one Mr. Hulk Hogan. It was an indifferent type of night. For me, good things. For me, maybe some bad things. I don't even want to use the word bad. Maybe I was indifferent towards some things,
Right.
but I know and believe that it is all for greater good of things as well. Bubba, good to see you. Yeah, he says last night was great. I got a new stand for my computer so that it's
Nice.
elevated up a little bit, and I keep pressing the wrong side of my mouse pad,
Oh, geez.
and it keeps messing me up a little bit here. But yeah, so I definitely want to go through. Mike Mondo debuted on Power today, NWA Power. That's interesting. I wasn't even aware that Mike Mondo was even still doing anything within the world of professional wrestling, but I'm glad that he is. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he's been working the indies on a little bit more of a part-time scale, as it
Okay,
were.
gotcha. So OMD, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on last night?
Last night, despite being only 4 matches, was fantastic. Yes, I had my detractions, as we discussed last night, with maybe the vignettes running a little bit too long. But we got that right mix. It's not like any of these matches were 5-minute squashes. We were getting 20-minute bangers. I saw a comment today that said E-drones are hypocrites because these guys are taking the finishers and kicking out. But yet you criticize when AEW does it. No, what we're criticizing when AEW does it is the guy hits the finisher and it's no soul.
True.
These guys sold those finishers and waited until it was 2 7/8.
Right, and that's something that we did talk about last night, even on the Raw Patrol as well, where we discussed a little bit about when that type of situation is needed, or not even necessarily needed, but when that type of a situation could work. And even for myself, I think that there was a lot of false finishes last night that really didn't need to be there.
Right.
But I digress. Back to you.
But I thought it was, even for all of the complexity around the production, the simplicity behind the show was phenomenal. Just, the smaller entranceway, the shorter entranceway, and narrower allowed for more crowd interaction. You had that smaller screen as well, so you had more of a crowd in behind it to be interacted with. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. The crowd was electric. And I mean, watching it on Netflix, it felt like we were there.
True. Very, very true. Let's go to you, Mr. Best.
Sorry about my having to leave there. I was lagging out really bad on my other browser, so I switched over to my other one. But yeah, last night's show, one of my favorite things about last night's show was the cinematic production value we got out of the show, and I wanted to point that out last night, but we were just so in awe with everything that they were doing. I hope they continue on with this for a weekly basis. I'm watching NXT right now, and I'm not getting the cinematic kind of, well, I kind of am with the drone, with the crane shots they're doing in the match right now. But I was just so elated with last night's show, and dare I say it, this may be the first Raw in the 2020s that I plan to go back and watch.
Interesting. Okay. So I definitely have enjoyed last night's edition of Monday Night Raw within the new Netflix era. I think the build for it was done fantastically. The hype surrounding even during the broadcast was beautiful. The video package that was done going through the years with all the different superstars, I got emotional. It was an emotional
Mhm.
video that I 100% plan to go back and rewatch probably several times. Um, the curtains falling and revealing Triple H with just that spotlight on him for a little bit was intriguing to me. And again, the camera angles for things were absolutely fantastic. We did get word from Michael Cole, who is back on Raw commentary alongside Pat McAfee, that the referee was wearing a ref cam, but we never saw any ref cam shots during the broadcast, which I think was a slight miss. I think that if you're going to make mention of and make note of that, then you need to at least include a little bit of the ref cam in even just that matchup to kind of give us a little bit of an idea of what it is and what it looks like, especially if this is something that they're going to look at doing going forward. Story wise, okay, yeah, I wasn't happy that Liv Morgan lost, but I understand everything behind it and I'm okay with it. So, those are my thoughts from last night. I think that they are in a right direction. And the haters out there that are talking about, oh, there was nothing for matches on the show. I get it. I totally understand that. And yeah, I agree. There really wasn't a lot of professional wrestling on there. But given the brand new market and the fact that people are probably tuning in that have never seen the product or haven't watched the product in years, they kind of need that little bit of a refresher as to who they are and what is going on. So for that, I am okay with, as long as this doesn't become the norm and we continue to only get 3 matches in a total of 3, maybe more, maybe less hours.
Yeah, see, I was okay with all the vignettes we got last night. I was totally fine with that because, as I said, and as Bubba is saying also in the chat there, he said if you watched the press conference, Triple H said last night was about showing people who they are for the people that don't know WWE. And that's exactly what I said during the broadcast, that a lot of these vignettes were for the new market, for people who maybe are lapsed WWE fans or they're new to the product. Last night was the show for them because it introduced through vignettes a lot of who these wrestlers are and when to like expect their next match, you know?
Right. You got anything else to add to that, OMD?
The other thing that I can appreciate, and I know you can appreciate this, was the lack of commercial breaks. We would get that black screen for about 5 seconds, and then we were back to the show.
5 seconds? Dude, it was even less. Yeah, it was even less than 5 seconds. It was like a 1.5 second flash of black on my screen and then back to action again. But again, you have to have the correct package.
Yes.
With Netflix for that.
Yes.
Which right now, as I'm watching,
even the
as I'm watching NXT right now, that's not the case.
Right.
Okay, you're getting commercials.
Is that what you're saying? Getting a countdown when they go to commercial.
Okay, gotcha. So you're still not getting commercials. You're just not getting the action.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And even the subtle touch of during a match, if they showed up to the Videotron, whatever you'd see still coming up, and they'd have a match or two still listed there.
Right.
So it was the subtleties and yet the simplicity behind everything, even though it was a very heavily produced and dynamic show. Just, I couldn't ask for any better to start the Netflix era and even introduce me to Netflix, because I only just got Netflix for the first time last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have to say I'm the same. I haven't delved too much into Netflix. I was not a subscriber to Netflix before. So this is really kind of my first introduction to it as well. But yeah, I'm okay with it, and I am interested to see where we are going to be going moving forward. With the
this is my third go around with Netflix.
Oh, jeez.
This is my third time subscribing to them. I've left them and come back a few times.
Oh, wow. Well, with that being said, there are changes, like we said, that are going to be happening with this program. And unfortunately, I did not have the time to get all of those changes done as of yet. So for our showtime, we're just going to say that it is showtime. And we're going to move ourselves into our Turnbuckle Studio Awards for the year of 2024. Yeah, we're not very prestigious with all of these things. Okay, I'll I'll be quite frank with you all. We discussed this, we talked about this, and we came up with what you are going to be seeing here today. Jake the Snake Roberts Award that we have for the best on the microphone. The Alundra Blaze Award for the most shocking moment. We've got the Big Van Vader Award for the best big man, the Ric Flair Award for the best male, Trish Stratus Award for the best female, the Shawn Michaels Award for the best breakout star, plus more. So, guys, we are going to just go right into this. We are going to show the award, show the winner that we have for the award, and then we can discuss why we feel this person was deserving of that award. Good with that?
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Without further ado, let us start with the Jake the Snake Roberts Award for Best on the Microphone. There were a few different names that were thrown out for this in discussions, but we came down to the consensus that the winner of the Best on the Mic Award goes to Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre has really shown throughout 2024 that he is absolutely grown on that microphone, has been able to cut some of the best promos of 2024 and be able to work with a lot of different people on that microphone. So, here we go. What do you guys think? Was that the good choice?
Definitely. I mean, here's a dude who every time he came out and grabbed that microphone, whether it was the feud with Seth Rollins, the feud with Punk, or the stuff he's doing right now, taking out everybody who's ever been aligned with Roman Reigns, he's had you gripped. It was just the moment you see him with that microphone in his hand, I'm hitting that M button over here so I can listen to what he's got to say.
Drew on the mic delivered pipe bomb after pipe bomb this year. Whether, and as Best alluded to, I mean, it didn't matter who he was in the rivalry with. And I think it started with him telling Punk, I prayed for this when you got hurt at the Royal Rumble.
Right.
And it has just captivated and gone from there. And it doesn't matter if he is in the middle of the ring. It doesn't matter if he is getting interviewed backstage. Just his all-around growth on the mic has been phenomenal. And I cannot wait to see what he has in store for 2025.
Yeah, I really can't either. I think that we're going to get some amazing things from Drew McIntyre in 2025. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, I believe.
I've got some breaking news here before we go to our next award.
Go ahead.
NXT is going to be hosting Vengeance Day, February 15th, 2025, in Washington, D.C.
Okay. In Washington, D.C.
Yep. It's going to be a fantastic show. When we did the P Patrol last year for it, we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yep.
We'll move on to our next award. The next award that we have is the Big Van Vader Award. The award for the best big man. This one here as well, we had a lot of discussion about. And the winner of the Big Van Vader Award for 2024 goes to Bronson Reed. Now, I think that choice was definitely one that was right on the head. Like, who else could it have really been than Bronson Reed this year?
Right? I mean, do you remember at the beginning of the year whenever Bronson Reed would come out and he would just do just squash some random dude for no rhyme or reason, and I would just come out and say, look, I like Bronson Reed. I needed him to do storylines that I care for.
Right.
I would say by about July or August, that's when he started doing things that I was caring for. And now I'm loving every time I see him come out there. And I wish him a speedy recovery from his current injury because I want him back on my screen.
Yep.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. We need him back on the screen.
Having really watched him from when he first started in NXT through his release and his time to New Japan and Impact to this return, phenomenal choice. This would be a tough one though, because I mean, you could put a guy like an up and coming Obafemi in there as the best big man. But I think
he was in that discussion.
But I think that Bronson's trajectory, the fact that he made himself the focal point with Seth Rollins, with R-Truth, with Braun Strowman, and just the chaos and the carnage, I think it was brilliant.
I agree. Let's make our way over to some of these comments here. I'm not able to see those because I'm trying to work everything else right now as well. I'll be saying Drew McIntyre is a good pick for the Best on the Mic award. Bubba saying, way to go, Drew. That's my boy. So after I'm just trying to make sure I got them all. Okay, that one after the Big Van Vader Awards. We're going to make our way over to the Alundra Blaze Award for the most shocking moment. There were a lot of shocking moments that happened in the world of professional wrestling this year. But one that happened a little later in the year is one that we found to be the most shocking. And that was the New Day turning on Big E. I can't even say the New Day turning, the New Day disbanding, dismantling, blowing up, I guess, as Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods turned their back on Big E? Or did Big E turn his back on the other two? That's been a big discussion as of late within the wrestling community. You guys' thoughts on the most shocking moment?
I'm kind of surprised that last night during the Raw post show, because I had Big E on the panel there, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't have like Xavier and Kofi come out and try to further that storyline last night.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, this moment, none of us even pegged this thing even happening. We thought it was going to be Kofi and Xavier turning on each other. So that's where the shocking moment comes into play, and it's still to this day shocks me. Like even like I said, even last night with Big E on the panel there, I sort of hoped that we saw the New Day come out and try to berate him a little more. And I'm talking Kofi and Xavier, of course.
Yeah.
But there is one caveat that I've read into, in that Big E was not originally supposed to be a part of that. Odyssey Jones was supposed to be a part of that. So there's a little bit on that side that if it were Odyssey in place of Big E, I don't think it would have been as shocking. But with Big E there, that was the perfect placement.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, I think that was perhaps the most shocking moment in the WWE. But I mean, we've had, shocking moments, surprise moments throughout all of wrestling. But I mean, this one really sort of caught the entire wrestling world off guard.
Right.
Nobody could see it coming.
It had people outside of the wrestling world asking me what was going on.
So
my sister texted me 3-4 days. Yeah, my sister texted me 3-4 days later and said, "What is going on with this situation?" So I had to give her like the whole lowdown, the whole entire storyline, to understand what was going on, because it was peppering her news feeds. Yeah, and she has nothing to do with wrestling. Her news feeds is all cooking and kitchen and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, this was just that mind-boggling moment of, I mean, one, nobody expected to see Big E that night anyways. I think maybe we weren't so we were maybe a little more prepared to see him show up, but we were not prepared for the aftermath and for what happened.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, throughout the day, there was reports that Big E was in the building that night. And it would have made sense because, I mean, it was the 10-year celebration. So having Big E there obviously made more than enough sense,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely it does.
I think with him coming out at about the 25% mark of that promo to his own music, as opposed to coming out with the New Day because of the 10-year anniversary, and it was the three of them. I wonder if that, played an element in the whole situation as well. I know we can all sit and speculate, but I mean, we haven't seen Big E around the ring unless he's been a panelist or an analyst. So you never know.
It's very true. What about them comments? What do we got up there for comments?
We got Bubba coming in and saying this moment was nuts. And Bubba is also saying hi, Bobby, because Bobby said hi to Bubba earlier on as well. But Bubba's right. I mean, that moment was nuts. I mean, here we are, like still a month later, and I still see wrestling fans talking about it. So that whole segment is going to be like featured on one of those like best of Raw episodes. I guarantee you, it's going to be there.
Yeah, it definitely should. I don't see why it wouldn't be. 100%. 100%. That's going to be something that happens. When are we going to get that? Who knows? Who knows when we're going to get the best of? But whenever it does happen, we're going to be ready and hopefully able to tell you all about it. I'm going to go to the next award here. The next one is the Trish Stratus Award for the best female in professional wrestling. Now, this one we went back and forth with a little bit. No, we went back and forth with this one a lot. To be honest,
we spent
with
about
you.
a half an hour discussing this one.
Yeah, it was a long time that we discussed this one for sure. But ultimately, I believe that we chose the right female for this. And the winner of the Trish Stratus Award goes to Toni Storm. No matter what incarnation of Toni Storm you want to look at within 2024, the OG Toni Storm, or you want to look at the vintage Toni Storm, the silent era Toni Storm, the black and white version, the reincarnation after amnesia version, Toni Storm did absolutely phenomenal throughout the entirety of 2024.
I'm just going to say this. She took a division that nobody cared about and made people care about it. What woman in 2024 has done that? I can't really think of anything but her. I did actually. She even had me like playing fantasy scenarios for her. And
oh, really?
I actually came up with one with Bubba. We were talking one night, and I'm like, imagine if she came in 1995 with Goldust when Goldust was doing the movie gimmick. Timeless Toni Storm would have been perfect for him if she were around at that time.
Right.
Very true.
I think for the layered aspect and everything that she put into each and every character she had, she was fantastic. Her in-ring work has always spoken for itself. The way she put over Mariah May as her understudy. But I want to go with, I have another woman because I was unfortunately unavailable for the discussions. I have another woman for myself that was probably the best of 2024. And this is a woman who took everything she was given, has wrestled against everybody. And no matter what, she's made it work. And that is Roxanne Perez.
Roxanne
I do
was
believe
in our discussion.
Yep. Roxanne was in the discussion for sure. Just ultimately going through Toni Storm, just kind of beat her out, and that was.
And I can't disagree. I mean, it's a phenomenal.
We came to the conclusion that with Roxanne, 2025 could very well be her year. Because there's still a lot more to Roxanne that we need to see.
Right.
Oh, for sure. For sure. She is really starting to establish herself as that big star. Very, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Moving along. We're going to get to our next award. Just trying to find it here. Here we go. We're looking at the Ric Flair Award. The award for the best male in professional wrestling in 2024. This one, we had a lot of discussion and controversial talk about. Ultimately, I think we kind of went with who I had talked about after kind of getting you guys on board with it, I guess, or by selling this person to you guys for what they had done for professional wrestling in the year 2024. And the winner of the Ric Flair Award goes to Will Ospreay. Now, Will Ospreay, not only over in New Japan professional wrestling, was doing good things, but made his way over to North America and decided to jump on board with AEW and was doing amazing things with AEW throughout the year as well. Been really good on the microphone, been really good in ring, and has wrestled and worked with some of the best names that are out there in professional wrestling today, including having an amazing program with MJF. And for me, that sold it.
I think his matches in AEW speak for themselves. I have had the opportunity to go back and watch some of his stuff from New Japan, from Rev Pro, and you can't go wrong with him as the best male. I think his storytelling as well, from the Don Callis family and asking for that separation up to his current feud with Kyle Fletcher, his former tag team partner.
Yeah.
It is masterful. And I can't wait to see what he can bring. And maybe he gets finally that really elusive championship in AEW.
What you got, bro?
Yeah, I'm still on the fence with Will Ospreay. I love his New Japan stuff. Don't get me wrong, but in AEW, he full on deserves the best male award because of the matches he's had with guys like Daniel Bryan, MJF, and all that. And they've been putting him in the ring with guys who can help him tell stories, and he's been able to successfully tell those stories.
Right.
But I'm still a little bit on the fence because I want to see him in a match with a wrestler who necessarily can't tell a story, and I want to see him tell the story.
Understandable. Let's see what he can do in the year of 2025. I think
that's basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I think we're going to see great things coming from him in 2025. Move on to our next award. It is the Shawn Michaels Award for the Best Breakout Star. Now, this one, we kind of all had the exact same name at the exact same time. But then we kind of looked back on things and we're like, this person has been in the business for a while. Does this really constitute breakout star? And the decision was made that yes, this person was the breakout star for 2024 because they were able to accomplish great things and break out and away from being part of a tag team and a faction and going on his own. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Shawn Michaels Award for the Best Breakout Star of 2024 goes to Mr. Yeet himself, Jey Uso. And we picked Jey Uso because of what he has been able to accomplish. And using those words, breakouts, he was able to break out and break away from, being underneath the tribal chief to being away from tag teaming with his brother in the Usos. He was able to do all of these great things by himself to make him the breakout star.
Can't argue with his track record. He got the entire crowd behind him organically, got himself over. He is now one of the people. And we see that each and every week, whether he's including the universe in his promos, coming through the crowd for his in-ring entrance. And he has not had a bad match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's a dude who, the moment he broke away from Jimmy, he just exploded onto the scene, and everybody was just firmly behind him and everything he did, right up until when he beat Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title, only to lose. And he did lose it about a month later.
Yeah.
To going back to the Bloodline and teaming up with them to help Roman out, to now being one of my picks to possibly win the Men's Royal Rumble this year.
Oh, that's very, very interesting that you bring that up, considering it is not that far away. Hello, Mr. Chris Parrish. Good to have you here. Mr. Chris Parrish was one of the names that was included in this that helped us choose all of these people. Mr. OMD, you don't know how to read, do you?
No, I don't.
No. But there we have it. The breakout star for 2024 was Jey Uso. Next, we got the Bob Backlund Award for the best technical wrestler of the year. Bob Backlund is probably one of the greatest technicians inside of that professional wrestling ring. Maybe even falling just a little bit short to our winner for 2024. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Chad Gable. I absolutely love this photo here of Chad Gable, the black and white in the background with the color in the foreground. Great photo, and probably one of the most deserving of this award for the best technical wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, every week, if we saw Chad Gable was scheduled, we were like, okay, we are in for a wrestling clinic. And I just want to point this out. I'm glad you named it the Bob Backlund Award. I totally forgot that most of the award names we had. And it strikes me as interesting because if I may recommend an old Bob Backlund match, watch the match when he lost the title to the Iron Sheik, because Bob Backlund was just phenomenal in that match.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. OMD.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the wrestling clinics that Chad Gable put on, especially his Intercontinental Championship match with Gunther. His rivalry with Sami Zayn. It was masterpiece after masterpiece. They made wrestling an art form. And even, showing us what he could do with the big men in terms of getting them over in that Chaos Theory suplex. Because it's not something that anybody expects to see. So, I mean, how do you go wrong? I mean, I'm sure Gunther was on the list for the best technical wrestler. I'm sure there's a high number of other people. But Chad Gable, you cannot dispute.
Yeah, Gunther was on that list.
I mean, look at that
Bryan
match.
Danielson was on that list. There were a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look at that match he had that Gable had with Otis just a couple weeks ago. I want to go back and have that match again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There you have it, the winner of the Bob Backlund Award, Mr. Chad Gable. We always need to include professional wrestling from around the world. So we have made sure that we included the Minoru Suzuki Award, the Murder Grandpa Award for the Best International Star for 2024. The winner of the Minoru Suzuki Award is Julia, a woman who worked for New Japan Professional Wrestling for Stardom and made her way over to the WWE platform as well. Such an amazing talent. If you have seen anything that she has done in the past, you will definitely understand why she took this award for the Best International Star.
Hell, if you're watching NXT tonight, I recommend her match with Roxanne tonight.
Yeah.
I am really only
Julia is just, I mean, I've been following Julia since her days in New Japan. So when the announcement of her coming to the WWE happened, I was like, yes, 100% yes. And she has just been a ball of fire all year long.
I'm really only starting to get familiar with Julia. I had heard her name, seen a little bit of her entrance work. And what I got off of the entrance as prior to her arriving in NXT was very Asuka-esque in terms of the look. So I wasn't overly sold, overly hyped.
Okay.
But I have been impressed with what I've seen from her in NXT. And I know I need to go back and maybe try and find some New Japan and other stuff that she's done so that I can be more familiarized.
Oh, yes, for sure you should. For sure you should. Very, very deserving, I feel, of having that Best International Star award. We go to our next award. This one is the Chris Best Award for the best event of 2024. And without a doubt, if anybody had any reservations, you shouldn't. Because the best event that happened in 2024 was the grandest spectacle of them all, WrestleMania XL, or WrestleMania 40. This is your award, Mr. Best. You take this.
Yeah. I'm still speechless about this event. So OMD and I were doing the PLE patrol, and you remember my excitement for both shows, right? OMD.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Even some angered viewers we had. Even some angered viewers we had that night couldn't even put me down. But yeah, this was just bell to bell from night one to night two. Everything about this show was just spectacular. There wasn't, there may have been a couple of lulls, but even those lulls were fantastic,
Yeah. And I mean, I can't argue. I mean, I was here with you. It was a fantastic show. And I mean, sure, each night had its, what would most people would consider the bathroom break match. And even then, coming off of that, and especially on night one, when it was Jimmy versus Jay in that number 4 position, that was not as bad a match as everybody wants to make it out to be. But again,
no, I've gone back and watched that match and enjoyed it.
You had the biggest WrestleMania of all time. And I mean, from the stage, from the storytelling, and I mean, you had your main event players had multiple matches. If you look at Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, not necessarily Drew McIntyre, but Roman Reigns. You had CM Punk, who was injured, still there to provide commentary and provide a distraction and be there to do what he needed to do. The surprise of Bubba Ray Dudley in Philadelphia. You do not, I mean, WrestleMania is the biggest event of the year for all of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that there's anything that came close to touching WrestleMania.
There generally isn't, and I don't know if there ever will be anything that can top WrestleMania. Although I hope one day there is a promotion that can give us such a spectacle that we have to give that the Chris Best Award. Before we get to our final award for this evening, I just want to let everybody know that we have our own shop where you can go and get yourself some Turnbuckle Studios merchandise. We're listed at karlkarufel.redbubble.com. That's KARLKARUFEL.redbubble.com. There you can find merchandise from Turnbuckle Talk, Turnbuckle Studios, The Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke, Saturday Night Gaming, and others. So there is a large number of products that are available there for you. And remember, every time that you go and make a purchase over there, you are helping to support the shows here within Turnbuckle Studios. And if you have ever thought about getting into the world of podcasting or video casting like we do here, make sure that you send us a message on our socials where you can become part of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, a program that was built and designed and put together to allow content creators a safe space to be able to go make their content and share it with the world. And that is what we love to do here, is share our content with everyone. So if you are looking at getting into anything like this yourself, me and the team here with Turnbuckle Studios can talk with you and see about bringing you on to the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program in some capacity. Brett, hello, welcome, and thank you for coming by. We appreciate you being here for us on this Turnbuckle Studios Award Show for 2024. But doing it in 2025. Yeah. We come to the final award for the night, and we are looking at the Karl Karufel Award for the best brand in the world. Given everything that has happened with this brand, the collaborations that they have gone and acquired, for some of these stars that they have been able to bring in to the company, we have given the award for best brand to NXT. The things that they've been able to do with Impact, or with TNA Wrestling as it is now, over 2024, bringing in numerous different stars from different companies to be able to showcase them as well as the NXT superstars, has been nothing short of amazing.
It absolutely has. And you look
Sean?
at, I mean, that is just growth, not only on NXT's part, but on WWE's part as a whole, because there was a time we never would have seen this.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I get goosebumps every time I'm watching either NXT or TNA, because it's a case of who's going to show up. Who's going to make their appearance? Who's making their presence felt?
Yeah, and that's the vibe I'm getting as I'm watching NXT right now, because they're doing their NXT New Year's Evil special, and usually at these kinds of shows, something unexpected happens. But no, NXT has just been firing on all cylinders, and Sean Spears said it best on Chris Van Vliet. He wanted to go back to a place where he was happy, and he said he was happy with NXT. Kind of it's kind of telling when a wrestler the likes of Sean Spears says something along those lines, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, very much so.
You look at a character like Lexis King and look at what he has been able to achieve in NXT compared to where he was before. And I mean, just the character
Lexis
development
King.
and the growth.
Yeah. You say Lexis King, but on my screen, Ethan Page. I mean, look at what he's done in the last year. He too went from nothing in a previous promotion to being the NXT champion within 2 months of his debut.
Yeah.
Yeah. NXT has been able to do absolute great things when it comes to professional wrestling in the year of 2024, and we applaud them as we applaud all the winners of the Turnbuckle Studios Awards for the year of 2024. Thank you both for being here with me tonight and going through these awards. We've already taken up an hour.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chris Best, where can the people find you?
All right. You can find me at my link tree, which is lanktr.ee/Chris_best83. Tomorrow night, you can look for me and OMD as we do the PlayStation Showcase. I think tomorrow's episode is going to be Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Very cool. OMD.
You can find me at my link tree, linktr.ee/OMD show. And as Mr. Best just alluded to, tomorrow night you can find me right here with him on the PlayStation Showcase.
And if you guys need a little boost of energy to be able to keep you going,
correction.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, correction, Carl. I said Need for Speed. Need for Speed. I actually meant the Funko Pops video game we're doing tomorrow.
Okay. There we go. A correction. They're doing the Funko Pop game tomorrow instead of Need for Speed. And if you guys need a boost of energy to be able to keep you going through that Funko Pop game, make sure that you're checking out Rogue Energy at rogueenergy.com, where you can get some great supplements to be able to help keep you awake, alert, and full of mind. While you're there, use the promo code PARISH, PERISH, to get 10% off your order each and every time that you are there. If you're looking for more information on Rogue Energy, make sure you check out Chris Parrish with the Chris Parrish podcast and go to the link tree, linktr.ee/Chris Parrish for more information. And to find everything for myself, Carl Carafel, check out my link tree, linktr.ee/KARLKARUFEL. For OMD, for Chris Best, and myself, Carl Carafel, we thank you for being here and joining with us. Make sure you give a like, share, subscribe, and a follow for everything that we do here with Turnbuckle Studios. Remember, everyone, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.